Appreciate the warmer weather today.
How's how's camp been from your perspective? There's obviously always sort of roster tweaks, roster moves you have to do to kind of keep up with everything that's going on. But how's it gone? First camp here in New England.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I think this is a unique space the way you're able to set this up and kind of the fans' engagement. That's been really awesome to see. Just how many people are here and want to consume the product, and so there's really been some good energy there. I think every year the excitement of camp and the real start to the roster building and the competition for spots, it's always an exciting time.
Seems like it's been a strong summer so far for the rookie class. What have you seen from the draft class and some of the undrafted guys so far?
I think the baseline that you expect for those guys is just to compete. You'll hear coach talk about it and talking about earning a role, and that's what the expectation for each one of those guys is. And each of them may have a different role, whether that's a starter, a backup, a special teams player. But the idea is you want to see those guys come in and compete and earn a role on the football team. And right now, a large majority of that group, that's what we've been excited about, both the drafted players, the undrafted players.
We've seen a lot of rotation at the left guard position. Just how do you view that competition and that spot with a couple weeks to go here before the season?
Sure, I think it's always about, I think the guy spoke to it yesterday a little bit about finding the right combinations. What is the best thing for our football team and up front to be able to execute the things that they need to do? And that goes into both physical ability, communication, and I think there's always, just like every position group, there's battles to be won, and nothing's ever given here. It's going to be earned, and so it's no different than every other position group, in my opinion.
Ryan, I know it's only been 17 practices, 2 preseason games, but where, if at all, has your view of the roster changed the most from when you started camp to where you are now?
It's a ever shifting, right? As you see things happen, as you get injuries at certain spots, you may think you had depth in one area, and then all of a sudden you're thin. So I think it's a shape shifting process. If any one area has been better or worse than expected, I don't really think of it in that terms. It's just constantly looking at each position room and going, are we good enough in this room? Is the fifth guy in that room good enough? Do we need to go outside help? And do we feel like we can be competitive in each of those rooms?
How much of your job right now, Ryan, is not only paying attention to what's going on here, but the rest of the league? And it's just one cut now. Hundreds of names are going to be available in the near future here. What difficult is that to keep up with, and how much time are you spending on that part of it right now?
Yeah, for me in my process and is really just kind of you shift straight to the pro. Like sometimes it's balancing pro, college, your own roster. Right now, as colleges are getting off and running in camp, this focus really shifts to the preseason and all the teams. Our pro stuff does a great job. We just met this morning on some things already. Just constantly talking about what's out there. You're trying to predict who's going to be available, maybe some bubble players. Are there going to be guys available for trade? It's that constant communication with our pro staff just to deal with the volume of players. And can we be incrementally better at any one spot? That's the goal.
So what's the biggest challenge of building depth, especially finding guys that Mike likes that fit the system best for him as far as what you're trying to build right now?
Well, I think with coach's vision, along with all the assistant coaches, we take a lot of value in their input. We want to be able to be on the same page about, is it always going to be perfect? No, but we want skill sets to align with what they're going to be asked to do. So as we look for depth, we're going to take stock of what we have, and then what are some complementary pieces that are going to help us and help that position room. So I think you're just always looking at what you have and what complements that based on what we're going to ask them to do offensively or defensively or even in the kicking game.
Ryan, I know Elliot talked about this yesterday, but we hear from fans all the time. And a lot of the questions that I get or that I've heard is, why, if there's a great player available like a Terry McLaurin, can't you just go out and do what it takes and send a 2 and send a 3 and send a player and get that guy in here that will help this team? How would you respond to those fans that think that way?
Yeah, I think Elliot put it in a good sense yesterday. Like, there's so many layers and complications and little nuances about every deal, whether that's a little deal, whether that's a big deal, or it's a backup player or maybe an elite player. Our job is to constantly come up with ideas, brainstorm, suggestions about players at all levels. And the acquisition of those players isn't as easy sometimes. It takes certainly 2 sides. Sometimes the player has say, and we have to be really intentional about moves we make, because any move we make sends a message to the rest of the football team. And I think that's something that, trust me, we go through scenarios constantly, multiple times a day, to keep everything alive. Because in the end, how can we make the football team better? How can we go get wins on Sunday? That's what we all want to do. So it's just a constant process that involves a lot of layers.
Ryan, given your experience, this time with
only a few days left till cuts. Do you feel like you have a good sense of your market for your players that other teams might be calling about, doing the same exercise as you are? Hey, so and so might be cut. What would it take to go get them?
Yeah, right. That's the other side of this, right? Is do you have assets that people are inquiring to you about? Take stock of how that affects your team. Are you deep enough in a position to be able to move on from that player? What's their offer going to be? So the back and forth between those two things, whether it's acquiring or whether it's somebody calling us to inquire about our own, I think that's a constant communication with our staff.
Does it typically change though the answers teams would give you now versus maybe Monday or Tuesday next week? Like, do you feel like throw a name at that, Kyle Duggar and Anthony Jennings? Do you feel like you know what they would fetch on the market come Monday or Tuesday?
With any player, it's going to change based off of a potential team's needs, and those could change within a practice, within the last game. They're not static over their roster. So as that changes, the market could change for any player.
Do you feel
Wait, this is the last
confident?
question.
Do you feel confident when all is said and done that you'll be able to adequately kind of fill the holes and the voids that have presented themselves over the course of the last month or so?
I do. I know we'll fill them to the best that we're capable. As a personnel person, I may have said this to you guys before, you never feel comfortable at any position. Whether or not you think you have a bunch of starters, but maybe you're, as I said earlier, maybe you're fifth person in the room, you want to be a little better than. Do I feel like we're going to be able to roll a unit out there and the 53 guys, plus the practice squad players that's going to allow coaching a chance to win a game? I do. And I think that's our job, is to, through this process of this cut down of whether it's some of our own guys or whether it's from outside teams, providing that depth that we can go be competitive on Sunday against the Raiders.
Thanks, Ryan.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.